As some of you may have heard, the California and San Francisco Departments of Public Health and the CDC have confirmed that a recent case of COVID-19 among an individual in California was caused by the Omicron variant. Genomic sequencing was conducted at the University of California at San Francisco, and the sequence was confirmed at the CDC as being consistent with the Omicron variant. So I know there are a lot of questions, but here's what we know right now. The individual was a traveler who returned from South Africa on November the 22nd and tested positive on November the 29th. The individual is self-quarantining, and all close contacts have been contacted, and all close contacts thus far have tested negative. The individual was fully vaccinated and experienced mild symptoms, which are improving at this point. So this is the first confirmed case of COVID-19 caused by the Omicron variant detected in the United States. And as all of you know, because we've been discussing this, we knew that it was just a matter of time before the first case of Omicron would be detected in the United States. And as you know, I've been saying it, and my colleagues on the medical team and others have been saying it, we know what we need to do to protect people. Get vaccinated if you're not already vaccinated. Get boosted if you've been vaccinated for more than 6 months with an mRNA or 2 months with J&J. And all the other things we've been talking about getting your children vaccinated, masking in indoor congregate settings, etc.
All right, folks, what's happening? Aloha Wednesday, hump day. What you guys doing, guys? Hope you guys having a great week. Well, what can I say? Charles is on Oahu. He's going to try and come in. He got summoned to Oahu for a few days. He's returning to Kauai on Friday, so um, I'm not sure if he'll be on tonight. But we do have Dr. Scott Miscovich and Dr. Kaohi Akiona. They'll be joining us in a couple of minutes to talk story, share about this new Omicron variant that is now made it to America. It's in San Francisco, and as we have been saying for the last couple of days, probably in many other states, including Hawaii. It's just a matter of time. Um, so we'll wait until the doctors get on. Dr. Miscovich has been studying this variant now for uh, intensely for the last couple of days. He has quite a bit of information to share tonight. I know we don't say this much, but if you have an opportunity, share this. I want as many people to hear this as possible. Again, it's the goal of our show to inform and educate. Now, throughout the day, I post on Facebook if I see articles that I think are important for our viewers, and take it for what it's worth, people. Some of you disagree. Some of you disagree with the people that disagree. I'm just going to ask you guys to be polite and pleasant. All right? Share the aloha, guys. We can all agree to disagree. There's no need to get personal. And I'm not I'm tired of putting out warnings. Hey, be nice. But come on, guys. We're all adults. We all have strong opinions, one way or the other. My focus or my goal is to provide the information that is available, and share that with you folks. Do what you want with it. If you disagree, you disagree. If you agree, you agree. But there's no need to start going after each other in the village. Remember, we're all in the same village. We're all in this fight together. We're fighting a common enemy, regardless of what you all believe. We're fighting a common enemy, and this common enemy is COVID-19. Whether it's the alpha, the beta, the delta, or the Omicron, we're all fighting the same enemy. And let's remember that as we go through this battle. We've all gone through battles in our lives: personal, financial, physical, mental, and it always works out. And let's just focus on the goal. Let's focus on the goal. Let's focus on the goal. And 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 let's foc And let's focus on sticking together with all of this, and try to keep the politics out of this thing. Let's rely on the facts and the data, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it. And hopefully, our guest tonight will be able to shed some light on some new developments. Dr. Miscovich, as you know, has colleagues all over the world, and he has been in communication with his colleagues all over the world. And we should take advantage of the information. And I hear information from people that I disagree with, but I listen to it because I am like a sponge. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. Um, Hang on real quick, because yeah, for some reason the LinkedIn feed is down. Hold on real quick. I just got a message from someone. Um, yeah, I don't know why. What's going on? Hold on, guys. Sorry, something wrong with feed. Join us on YouTube. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn. I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn tonight. But anyway, we got the villagers in here, and apologize to those that are waiting on LinkedIn. We do have viewers on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and it's been working really, really, really well. So anyway, I'm going to bring in Dr. Miscovich here, and we'll get the discussion started. Again, Charlie is on Oahu. He got summoned there for work, and apparently will be there till Friday. Oh, link is now working. Okay, that's good. I think you're watching an older show. I think because I don't. I just had an error message that LinkedIn was down. So anyway, boom. What's up, Doc?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear, loud and clear. I love the
Yeah.
lights, man. I love the lights. You look like a rock star. Well, you are a rock star, but
No,
you actually look like a rock star.
this is Christmas. I even put my Christmas shirt on for you guys.
Yeah, so did I. So did I. That's my Christmas Kawaii life. Kawaii life.
there we go.
uh, I gotta tell you, man. If ever uh, you have to choose a place to go through a pandemic, it would be Hawaii, regardless of which island you're all on. And for those of you on the mainland, I'm sorry. If I had going through a pandemic, I'd rather do it here in Hawaii, for many reasons. And one of the reasons is because we got a bunch of experts right here. Dr. Miscovich, obviously one of them. Dr. Akiona will be joining us shortly. Both of you guys have been working your tail off, and I know there's a lot of new developments, Doc, as it relates to Omicron. You just did a post. I just read your post, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But how's everything going, man?
Well, I guess I did post my clip from CNN from about 20 hours ago, and as I think you know well, Mel, because I talk all the time. I I've been so fortunate to literally have an international audience, but it also correlates with the work I'm doing. I mean, I am working all over the country. I'm actually right now working on international projects, talking to international companies, international leaders, and it really has put me in a position to push myself I always push myself to a higher level. My whole life, it's probably the athlete in me, and I always push to always be the best and just go and so my days are long. I mean, I'm 18. I've been up since 4 a.m. I'll be up again tomorrow 4 or 5, and after I do shows, or I did my CNN last night, I'm all amped up, man. I can't get like this. And even with you guys, I mean, even though it chills and we smile a lot afterwards, uh, it's still, I'm still awake. But I really challenge myself to be honest and speaking to the people. That's what I want to do. I'm not going to, I mean, I could, if you want me to throw a bunch of studies up, I could do that for you. But what I'm trying to do is condense the best information of the world down for the people to understand it, to to understand, because there's so much information that flies around out there, and that's what I focus on. And it has been really a challenge, since now I have to really, I mean, in any given CNN appearance, I'm talking about Germany, I'm talking about a lot about Africa, I'm talking about different countries, and I'm literally talking to leaders in those different areas, and I'm dealing with probably the WHO as much as CDC, but I don't want the people to think I'm ignoring our state. I'm here because this is my home, and I agree with you. I love Hawaii. I just get frustrated with a lot of the things I'm seeing. I'm very frustrated and concerned right now, and that's why we're here. That's why we need you and Charlie to keep doing what you're doing, and keep spreading a voice of honesty. That's what I hope everybody understands that this show is. It's a voice of truth, a voice of honesty, to sift through political things or things that people want to just, toot their horn on. No, man, this is just all about what is good for you, the people of Hawaii.
I shared, and obviously I'm stalling a little bit because for two reasons. Number one, we want to wait till our villagers get in. We're up to 102, which is very good for 7 o'clock. Typically come on a little bit, and also for Dr. Akiona to join in. But I was sharing earlier that you have established a network of colleagues across the globe. I mean, across the globe, and I'm not talking about watching their press releases or press conferences or watching their Facebook videos or YouTube videos. I am talking about actually getting on the phone or getting on an email and sharing ideas and information with other experts throughout the world. And that is such an asset for us here in Hawaii. And I'm not just here blowing smoke up your butt. I mean, seriously, we also fact check our data. Charlie and I, between Charlie and I, imagine this: two former cops, and I'm an investigator all my life. All my life, all my adult life has been as an investigator. Charlie's been in this industry forever. We fact check everything. So obviously, Dr. Miscovich, if you're still coming on our show, it's because the data and information that you provide to our villagers is factual.
Yeah. Hey, I don't mess with active or former cops, man. Just don't worry. I respect you guys from the second show I was on. I almost, felt the handcuffs on me. No.
And there were times, I'll be honest, Doc, there were times I was called Charlie and say, what the hell's going on with Dr. Miscovich, man? He's getting a little soft, and we had that discussion, and I think it's so cool about you and many of our guests, in fact probably all of our guests, that they are on this journey as well. You folks are on this information gathering journey. You just have a different perspective because you guys are doctors. You're smart, but we all on this information gathering journey. I wish I could pick up the phone and call someone from Germany or Belgium or Israel, and say, hey guys, hey, this is Mel. By the way, Dr. Jerome Kim is going to be on our show next week, Wednesday. 1 week from tonight, Dr. Jerome Kim. This guy in the last month has been put on so many different consulting boards, so many awards. I'm excited, Doc.
Yeah.
To have him on next week.
He's a perfect example of someone that, remember, I introduced him to you guys because he was introduced to me through his brother. And when I first talked to Jerome, he's so down to earth, but the guy is brilliant. Yeah. And he is so brilliant. And what he brings is that worldwide perspective. And I'm telling you, man, I will be all over that show because it is going to be something that they should break into our TV to talk about it, because that's right about when we're going to have the first solid information on the effectiveness of vaccines across the world to Omicron. And that
the timing couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better. It is it is going to be so important because, all of the general first line information that we have right now. I mean, you heard Moderna came out and basically said, we're worried. We're worried that we're going to have loss of effectiveness, and their stock took a big hit. So think about it. Public company comes out and makes that announcement. it's got to be pretty serious, right? It's got to be.
No, Doc, it's the conspiracy, Doc. It's this conspiracy. They're playing with the stocks. They're, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
it,
All right.
last night I watched Jimmy Fallon. I watch it every night. This guy's funny. His opening, his
So,
monologue is the best.
yeah.
And he went off last night. He went, I've never seen him so upset and so serious about the conspiracy theorists and how they are hurting our country and our world. I cannot obviously cannot repeat what he said because I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was to the point, and brings me to that. You talked about this, our shows used to be. I remember it wasn't common, but it wasn't uncommon where I'd get a call or an email from one of the reporters, Mahelani Richardson, or any of those people that say, "Hey, Mel, can I borrow a clip from your show?" And they would put it on the news. But once our show exposed the facts that went against the government's agenda, more specifically the lieutenant governor, no more requests to use our clips. And it's not, I listen, I don't do this to be popular. I am popular enough just from my history and my life on this little island. I don't need publicity. But the information that we have, to me, should be out in the general public. And that's why we rely on our villagers to hit the share button, to tell your friends and families tomorrow. It's not, now we're on every platform, so there's no excuse. Everyone has. I don't have Facebook. Well, you guys just go to YouTube. You don't even have to sign up for an account. Just go to YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn. So the mission is to get this information out to as many people as possible. For those that want to listen, I mean, for those that don't want to listen, there's not much more I can do, but we try our best. So, having
Well,
said that, Doc, having said that, I'm sorry, but
let me
go ahead,
let
go
me
ahead.
let me ask you a question based on that, based on from them to now. Do you feel, because I have this big feeling that um, the press is lying down and they're not challenging anything that's coming out. I'm getting the feeling originally the press was a little more aggressive, but right now I think they basically accept everything. They don't ask the hard questions. Whatever is asked, they say, "Oh yeah, okay, thanks," even though it could be totally contrary to what the truth is, and they're just happy to get the interview. Or do you get that feeling?
Yeah, and let me just give you a personal experience, and this is just my own personal experience working with the media. The media will give you, as an elected official or a public figure, all the time you want if you are available to them whenever they want. In
Yep.
other words, if Mel Raposo was willing to talk to the media on everything that was going on, I would be a resource for them, and they would never, ever throw me under the bus. It's this unwritten agreement that they have. You help me, I help you. The media knows damn well. We have intelligent people that are putting out the news. I'm serious. I know a lot of these people personally. They're very intelligent people. But it's not the reporters, right? You got to understand. The reporters go out and they get their stories. It goes through an editor. It goes through the producers. It goes through all this filtering systems. So obviously, those that have made that unsigned agreement to be there whenever they need a story will get the camera time. And for me, because I was such an outspoken elected official, and oftentimes I was holding or trying to hold people accountable, they wouldn't they wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't come ask me, or they wouldn't print what I said because it went against the people that made that unwritten agreement to give them stories when they needed them. So my policy was very simple. If something big went down, they would come up and say, "Hey, Councilmember Raposo or Chair Raposo, can I get a comment?" No, you don't. I'm not you. Go watch the repeat of the meeting. Everything that I need to say was in that meeting. Take it from there. I don't. That's my policy, because they take you out of context. They make you look like an ass. I don't need to help anyone make me look like a bigger ass than I make myself. So anyway, so what we're seeing now is you have a lieutenant governor, right? And this is, I'm going to go real world here, Doc. We have a lieutenant governor that has mega time on the morning news, KHON. every single, I don't know if it's every morning, but it's pretty damn close to every morning. He has 2 or 3 segments, and he gets to share his story, and then he gets to answer questions. And of course, questions are all already prearranged, the answers are already figured out. They're not going to put out any story that will conflict with what our lieutenant governor is saying. And this ties right into your post tonight about the trigger words or the dog whistles to look out for when any of our so called experts are speaking. Because I think we're providing a disservice to the community when we jump on this bandwagon of we're in a good place, we're safe, go enjoy your holidays, when the rest of the world is saying, watch your asses, people, this stuff is real. So I appreciated your post, and we don't have to mention names here. You don't. I can, but you don't have to. But that's what I see. This media has chosen to put out the we're in a good place story. I think KITV has probably, out of all the news stations, KITV has the most balanced, unbiased stories uh, compared to all the rest. But that's just my own personal opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. The other two have a lot of internal connection bias. Yeah, well, I one of the things I'm looking at is, I don't really hit on names when I'm here. I talk concepts. I try to stay away from politics. I try to stay with the science and the psychology. And so when I make that comment, which I'm happy to repeat, I'm actually talking not only locally, I'm talking across the United States because I'm so much working across the United States, and I'm also talking internationally. So I am talking about a phenomenon that has a much deeper basis to it. And for the listeners who didn't have, or the viewers that didn't have a chance to understand, in a post today, I put a little bit of a concern of mine, and I said, it's kind of like a dog whistle to me. And I said, I want everyone to be aware when you hear the word normal or back to normal, or anybody trying to use the scientific word endemic, it should be like a dog whistle to you to know that what is going to follow is a lie and that you're being lied to. And the reason is we are in the most serious pandemic of modern times and probably the last 500 years. And look at the events of the last week. You know what? We've been predicting this. I've been predicting this on the show. Experts have been predicting this. Politicians don't, but this is what we're dealing with. And what the people need is the truth. And as I said in my post, I don't know about you people, but this isn't normal to me. Normal is probably still about 2 years away. And if we can give the people an honest answer of how to stay safe and understand we're giving you instructions to be safe in one of the most deadly, devastating times of human history, then you're going to be safer and you're going to wake up. And don't tell me, I'm seeing this all over the country, well, we're worried about the psychology of the Americans and things like that. Yeah, who isn't? Talk about the psychology for the people who lost 3 people in their family, or people who have long COVID, or people who will be disabled for life, or people who are carrying oxygen bottles around. Yeah, this is psychological stress that will be carried for generations. And by lying to people and giving them false sense of security and fluffing up will only worsen that stress. It's only going to worsen the psychology. How do you deal with trauma? How do you deal with telling family members that grandma has cancer or something? You're honest about it, and you prepare them. Yeah, she's going to get a little bit worse, and then and then things are going to happen. It's still hard. That's where we all are right now. It's hard for everyone, but We already have seen enough in the world right now when leaders change their verbiage, because that's why they're leaders. They get that microphone, they get the TV, they get that pedestal. And some people aren't following it as much as they can detail well. Some people trust what the leaders say, and they say what they want to hear, which is, oh, don't worry, throw your mask away. Oh, you can go back and do what you do. That's not true. That's not true. That verbiage will lead to more people dying. And
Well, I mean, where else do you see you get the newspaper or you get your online paper, whatever it is, and you see the big headline, Omicron is all over now, and I saw a couple of questions. It is has been identified in San Francisco. It's everywhere, but and then you see the headline, Hawaii eases restrictions on the same day. On the same day, uh, that's like that's nuts. That's okay. So now, someone that doesn't pay much attention to what's going on, they work, they have lives, they have children, they have school, they take care of kupuna. They don't have time to watch the Mel and Charlie show. They don't have time to do research, and they happen to open up the newspaper today and they're like, oh my god, this virus is has now come, this new variant has come to San Francisco. Oh my god, everyone around the world, Japan shut down reservations, no more incoming travelers, period. All presidents saying we're going to require testing for all people, post arrival testing. But here's Hawaii, we're easing restrictions. Go enjoy, have fun, don't worry. It's the same thing they said when Delta started to blow up around the world. I remember specifically one of the politicians that are on TV every morning, I'm not going to mention names, said, I'm not worried about Delta. That's just another variant. We get thousands of variants in a virus. I'm not worried at all about Delta. And look what happened. Look what Delta did to our state. And I see the same reactions to Omicron. It baffles me, Doc, as and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a scientist, and I am Portuguese. But I'm smart enough to know that if someone else is going through some issues, we best listen and learn. And that's I'm not getting that from our state at all.
well, let me take us back a couple weeks ago, right? Pre-Omicron. I think I think I was on the show and I said this, and this was my prediction. That's the other thing. I'm so public. Everything is recorded, and I challenge anybody to go find anything I said that was factually incorrect, or ultimately kind of didn't factually then happen that we predicted. I'm not saying I got a crystal ball, but what I'm saying, I'm living this and I have enough experience and enough experts, and you're hearing the experts around the world say the same thing. And before 2 weeks ago, before Omicron was even a word, we basically were saying, look at Europe. I was on CNN like 5 times out of 10 days. Europe is being crushed right now. Germany's deaths are going to be peaking at Christmas. Hospitals are overrun. It is devastating. Okay, why? Well, people are going indoors a little bit more, but the waning of the immunity, all right? So what we're seeing is that you do not have enough immunity. If you only have 2 vaccines, you get 50%. You can still get it. There are many. Why don't we get this here in Hawaii? Why don't people look at this and say, hey, wait a second, like Belgium or Portugal or the Netherlands, they all have exactly the same vaccine rates as Hawaii. And they're having these surges that are beyond surges. What are we missing here? How's that happen? You know, well, it's because the two shots only is now about 50% immunity at best. So when you have 2 shots, you do not have full immunity. And all we talk about here is, oh, we're so great. We have so much immunity. No, you don't. We have about 15% of our state has full immunity right now. And I'm sorry to the listener or viewers that are saying, holy shit, are you talking to me? I only have 2 shots. Yeah, I am talking to you. If I'm your doctor and you're sitting in my exam room and you come in and say, hey, doc, am I great? I'm going to say, well, you're about 50-50. But if you go get another shot, we just had another massive study come out yesterday in JAMA, and we have another one from 2 weeks ago, and another one that was just out hours ago. You go to 94 to 96% if you get another shot. So get another shot. Well, what if I have to get another one because of this Omicron? Who cares? Big deal. It's a shot. You're not going to die now. That's what you need to do. You're not going to go to the hospital or ICU. That's what the key is right now. So let's just be honest to people. The honest answer is we're only about 15% vaccinated for the state for full vaccination.
I'm glad you brought that up. Dr. Carroll was on our show on Monday, and he brought that point up that, in fact, the fully vaccinated number that they put out every morning, and in fact, it went down, right? Because they were counting boosters as original shot. I mean, the whole record keeping in this state is a mess. You really cannot put any trust in the numbers that they put out. But the concept Dr. O'Carroll talked about is one that you brought up probably a couple of weeks ago, and maybe even longer, that the fact of the matter are fully vaccinated would be those that have received their boosters.
Yep.
And in fact, we don't even know that'll be fully vaccinated because you may need another booster in another 6 months or so. Right. But to keep pounding the number 71.2% fully vaccinated is not an accurate statement, because we're not fully vaccinated. We're not at full immunity because of the waning whatever of these vaccinations.
Right. So look at that. And now we have the perfect storm. We have waning immunity. We have a time when I get some rain been blown through here, health here in Hilo, you're going to have a lot of rain. So we're going to go indoors more, but more so, it's the holidays. We want to be with family and friends. And a lot of things are going to happen indoors. So we have waning immunities indoors. And then we have this magic of our governor, who basically said, I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel. It's governor stuff, this COVID stuff. Yeah, I'm done with this. Here, you mayors, you go deal with this. I'm going to just hang out over my holidays. Call me if you have a problem. That's what I viewed this whole thing was. How on earth do you shut down everything at the worst time? And I'm not even talking about Omicron, right? This was before Omicron. I was saying these things and dealing with these things. Now, when you see Omicron that's out there on the horizon, and they all come back and say, well, we don't have it in Hawaii, and it's only one case in the United States, and we don't know. Okay, I get it. I get that. But what do you do to the people? I talk to my buddy Harry all the time, and he and I talk at least every morning. I was like, Harry, let me give you this analogy. So you are the mayor of the Big Island, and you got this warning that there's this Category 5 hurricane that is so freaking huge, it would go from the tip of Kauai down to the tip of the Big Island, and the winds are going to be 200 mile an hour. And all the forecasters saying, you better watch out because this thing could be tracking. Are you going to sit back and tell the people, hey, it's okay. There's this big, monster hurricane out here. But no, you're going to go and you're going to tell them, this is what we know. This is what the projections are. This is what we're worried about. So you better be worried, and we'll keep you up to date as time goes on. But keep your guard up. You got to be really, really worried about. And you'd update them every day with honesty and truth. And you'd look at the camera and you'd tell them, yeah, this is what's happened. And at the end of the story, as we've seen how many freaking millions of times, sheared, goes away, turns. But you know what? We all go, great, Costco, Longs, They're all out of toilet paper. Who cares? Because we were prepared, right? And we had an honest answer. Well, that's what's going on right now. We're not a positive that Omicron is going to be just kind of ripping through our state by January or something like that. But you know what? As a guy who's lived this and who is all over the world and gets to speak to the world on a regular basis, I said this before. This is the most worried I have been since the beginning of the pandemic. Okay. And is it going to come? Is it going to change? Is it going to turn? Is there going to be something? I don't know. But there's so many indicators right now that say batten the hatches up, get prepared. This is serious, right? So,
And that is why we rely on the experts, the scientists, the molecular engineers, or whatever you want to call them, that know the characteristics of molecules and atoms and chromosomes, and they are concerned because of what this variant is doing. I mean, why would you not listen? You know, Mayor Harry Kim, I gotta say, man, one of the most amazing gentlemen I've ever met in my life. I only wish I had met him early in my political career because it's so much to learn from him. But he said on the first time we spoke, the first time he was on our show, he said, and this was months and months and months ago, and he said, it's time all hands are on deck. Now is time where EOCs are open 24/7. We don't take a break. We are watching this thing day to day as if it was a hurricane. And that's not happening. We are waiting and see. Yeah, we wait and see. We're going to be waiting. We're just waiting for some new news article come across, but we are not picking up the phones and talking to people in Germany and Portugal and Israel and everywhere else. Brazil now, right? It's in Brazil. Oh my God, God help them. Um, San Francisco. Why are we so relaxed about this? We come in Hawaii. We're talking about travel. We're talking about all these people coming in. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine came back from the mainland, went on a family trip, unvaccinated, came home, got sick, tested positive. No doubt got it from the mainland. Had he been tested uh, post, he got sick. That's how he found out. Do you know if he's counted as a case in the mainland? Absolutely not.
no,
He's
he
not
should be
counted. He's counted here
here, right here.
because he got tested here.
Yep.
So, when the state keeps telling us only 1% of the cases are mainland or visitors, blah blah blah. How many of our visitors that come, go home, get sick, test positive, are there? We don't know that, and we will never know that. So this whole idea that this virus is all community spread is not true. And I was hoping that the governor would have come out today and let us know that maybe they're considering some post-travel testing, that maybe we are going to implement testing of everyone, including vaccinated passengers, as the president is looking into right now. But
Absolutely.
no, I did not hear that. I actually did not hear nothing except this morning. I heard from Mayor Blangiardi on the news just saying, "No, man, it's not here. We're in good shape. We're in good place." I have not heard a peep from the governor, and yet San Francisco, which is the majority of our passengers, travelers that come to Hawaii, come from California. A lot of them. We have many direct flights from San Francisco coming to Kauai, but not one peep about maybe reconsidering implementing pre and post travel testing for everyone. Not a peep. Not a peep, Doc. And
Well,
that drives me nuts.
yeah, I know that's the thing that is really, really concerning me right now. Because one of the things they did when they always ask me this on the CNN time and other times is, well, what do we do? What's the answer? And yeah, I mean, I was so happy when I was reading in the past like 6 to 8 hours that the federal government and Biden is, I mean, period. And what are they doing? Day 24 hours for the testing. No more 3 days, 24 hours for the testing for international travels. They're talking about then having potentially a day 3 or day 5. test afterwards. They're even talking about quarantine of international travels. Okay. So what do I want to bring up? They're talking about it, right? We're implementing the testing, but they're talking about preparing for it. Are we in the state of Hawaii? We are a melting pot for the entire world. Have we put together a program to say, you know, what happens if, and what is the program and what will we do? No, we're going the other direction. We're saying, no, everybody, come on. We have the greatest visitor numbers ever. Come on in. Everything's okay. And we don't need any testing. You know, bottom line is that with waning immunity right now, everyone should be tested. I would give exemption to 3 shots. You know, I would give you an exemption if you wanted to show that you've had a 3 shot. I might consider that. Now it's not Omicron. Okay, I'm talking about just prior of what needs to happen. But we need to be prepared. That's my whole point. That's what Harry said I was just talking to Harry all the time about this, and we discussed way back when we were talking. We were on your show numerous times as we were just taking the drum and beating the drum. Here comes Delta. Here comes Delta. 8 weeks before, 6 weeks before, 4 weeks before, and we're like, here it comes. Here it comes. The sky's falling. Here it comes. And Harry is calling the governor, leaving messages, calling and saying, there's no time to rest. You need to have your civil defense there 7 days a week. It's time. This is the emergency. Not only is the hurricane out on the shore, the hurricane is going to hit your shore. It's now not turning back. It's time. Did we have any of that? Hell no. We had Delta here for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and people were still in denial about it. So, you know, all the listeners, all the viewers here, I'm going to clarify. Do we know for sure that this is going to come and ravage the state like Delta? No, we don't know that. We don't know that. Do we have a very solid idea? And this is a person who's lived that. I made the projection, and I've talked to Dr. Brown and Dr. Miller and Dr. Dwork and all these experts that you know who are my core Hawaii team. We all rely on each other because they're so brilliant and we're so non-political. We're just the facts. And I said to them pre-Omicron, I said, I'm predicting with the relaxation of guidelines that we will be at 500 a day by February 1. What's everybody think? Pretty unanimous. Everybody was like, yep, this is just the wrong time to do it. We are in trouble. Look at Europe, look at all these things. And everybody was worried that we are destined to have a major surge. Most of us feel that we'll have a pretty good indicator, as will, you know, Dr. Pham and the modeling group out of UH, which, you know, our university experts come together, 20 experts, and they do this really complex, highly competent modeling of what's happening. No one even talks about it. We don't get any feedback from it. Well, bottom line is, once we hit about the 15th of December, that's going to give us a really good indication of projections as we're heading into the 1st of January, 15th of January, into February 1st. And, you know, and that's not even talking about one person with Omicron coming into the state. We are highly destined to have a major surge over the holidays right now. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I'm worried about the Thanksgiving holidays.
Yeah.
That we haven't even seen the results of that yet. We're going right into, and it's kind of like, although it's, you know, 2 separate holidays, the holiday season is somewhat connected. I mean, Thanksgiving into Christmas is kind of connected for many people. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I hate to think of it that way, because that is the time to share with, spend with family and loved ones. But we can still do that if we do it safely. And I think that is the message that is not being said or told by the state. It's giving, I think, the people a false sense of security that don't worry about what's happening around the world. We are different, which we know we're not. We're no different than anywhere else. And that in fact we better pay attention and we better be safe. I know all the mayors now have their own plans in place, and our mayor on Kauai, for the indoor gatherings, outdoor gatherings, um, vaccination, organized events, vaccination or negative COVID test, not an not an antibody test, but an antigen or a PCR 24 hours before the event. That may seem kind of inconvenient, but that is the safest way. Less than 24 hours before the event, you gotta get your test, not your result. Your test has to be taken 24 hours before the event.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's the best we can do right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at what is a couple of back to how do we give advice to everybody on what you can do, and this was on my CNN piece. I've said it before, I'll say it on again. Number one for me is find and be instructed on how to wear a good fitting mask. And the hell with the holiday masks. Don't wear ones that match your outfits. Try to find one that is not a knockoff or counterfeit, what's called an N95. And you know what? If it fits you well, you really, really have pushed your security way, way up, especially in an indoor environment or if you're around people that you're not aware of. So that is children. They have different sizes. If you're a smaller person, if your kapuna is a smaller person, as they're kind of not a big person of stature, find one that fits them, right? And that is number one in mind. Number two, I said this on my piece last night. I said, what should be flying off the shelves for COVID or for Christmas gifts is go buy those cheap $15 fans from Target and put one over your shoulder and let the air blow away for your elderly. Let it blow outside, or even if you're outside, if you put one of those fans there, or if you got trade winds blowing, you're not going to get any COVID, right? So, so that's really important. Ventilation and being well ventilated is very, very key. And that's what really, really worries me about the restaurants. And that is that, so now no 6 foot limit, no nothing. You can be sitting there holding a beer in your hand. And because you're drinking something, you don't have to have any kind of mask on. And you could have 20 people around you within 10 feet. Right?
Mhm.
That's a super spreader event right there. And they will happen again and again and again and again and again. Right? And then, so, at this stage, having masks, well-fitting masks, ventilation, having people still spread out indoors, try to be outdoors. Those are still the hallmarks of what we're doing. Then the next thing, since you were saying testing, I think it was Baltimore. Baltimore just basically bought tons of tests and they're giving them for free to all the residents. Everybody's getting free tests. Heck, in Europe, in the United Kingdom, they mail you 2 tests a week. Every person in the whole country gets it. We have all this federal money that's being stockpiled downtown in Honolulu for whatever pet projects they want that was meant to save the people. That money should be being given to the businesses that prove that they are harmed by the pandemic, to save all these people that we hear the mayor of Honolulu saying, oh, I got to save these businesses. Well, let's just, let's we appreciate them. Let's help them, but now's not the right time. Where if they open and that people can die from being there, it's not the right time. We'll get there. But let's get some of that money. Let's spew tests out there so that, like you said, Mel, everybody on the planet can go ahead and have a test before they go to a major event, and everybody has the best idea that they're safe. So those are really big. And then the next thing I have is we should be so gearing up for contact tracing right now. We should really get to be geared up, because that's going to be so essential if we do get Omicron coming in, is to be able to contact trace, quarantine, isolate, because at least that will slow its entry through the population. And what's the effect of it being slowed? Number one, first and foremost, let's not be not telling the truth to the people. You're only partially vaccinated if you got 2 shots. We need enough time for the people of Hawaii to rush to get their 3rd shots. And then, God forbid, that we find the vaccine isn't efficacious. In about 3 months to 4 months, we'll have a new one available that will be covering it. Then we have to have massive amount of time to plan the logistics to get that everywhere in such a short period of time. So much work. So much work.
Is there a lack of tests?
No, God, no. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, Mel. Today, this is the truth. You know, I'm getting consulted all over the country, all over the world. People call me and say, help me design my testing program. I don't necessarily do them, but they call and say, how do I keep? Well, right now, employers are all worried that if you have more than 100 employees, although the government has pulled off OSHA from the vaccine mandate, they're still saying anybody that's unvaccinated has to have a test. I'm getting calls from everywhere. So I called the main, and I'm big enough now, probably the biggest group in the country doing this, that I have lines up to the vice presidents and presidents of all the testing companies that make everything. So when you talk about these tests that are out there, I talk to their chief scientists, I talk to them. So I got the word today. For example, one test I'm really, we found it's the one we use for the Olympics, and we have tons of experience versus others. The best antigen test is BD by Bennett and Dixon, 125-year U.S. company that does it. I talked to the president of sales for the United States. He could guarantee me 2 million by the end of December. 2 million. Okay, Matt, Mel, that's a real fact right there. Because on the other hand, I have a Fortune 15 company that's asked me to how many tests can I get them for a short period of time. So I had to get a real number to know that. So right now, our PCR capacity in the state is about 15 to 20,000. We can do PCRs run here locally. Antigen test, they have overstocked them. Now, the at-home tests, the one you buy over the counter, are flying off the shelves. Those are really hard to get, really, really hard to get. I got a from the same person, I've got 600,000 available by year end, and another 600,000 I can get in January of the at-home tests. So, I mean, tests are absolutely plentiful. And then the other thing is, they're not that expensive. The price points have gone so far down, right? They're just ridiculous. From a government standpoint, they all should be sub $10, right? Sub $10. Yeah.
The lieutenant governor said, well, one of the questions he was asked last week on his spotlight, or maybe, I think it was last week or earlier this week, would he consider doing post-arrival testing after a short quarantine? And he said the reason that would be difficult is because we don't have enough tests to do that. I find that kind of hard to believe because, the government now the federal government is talking about it. I mean, we know we've had stockpiles of tests. We know that these tests could be ramped up quite easily throughout the country. So I'm confused, and I think it's an excuse, but I don't think it's an accurate excuse. I think it's not true that we don't have enough tests, or we couldn't have a program in place where we could require post-arrival testing from everybody coming into the state.
All I can tell you is facts, and my fact is 100%, not 99, 100% that There are so many tests available out there that are quality tests that no question about it, right?
The other real clarification I wanted to make, I know there's been questions about the contact tracing. The contact tracing has not been discontinued. I think the way they said it in their press conference, the governor's press conference, I I, I almost crapped myself too. But when I read the executive order or the emergency declaration, the contact tracing was not going to be required of restaurants. So, in other words, prior to today, if you went to a restaurant, they were supposed to take information from their patrons in the event they had an outbreak. That information would be passed on to the DOH. That is no longer on Oahu now. I cannot speak for the Big Island or Maui, but on Oahu, Mayor Blangiardi did away with that part, which I think is a huge mistake. On Kauai, it exists. I can tell you that. And I'll share a little bit about an event that we're putting on this week where we got some help from Dr. Miscovich. But our declaration from our mayor, uh, you are required to have every single person put in their information. They have to sign that it's okay for this information to be released to the DOH if requested. Also, the verification of the vaccination or the test. And you have to retain a copy of that. So it's very strict. Now, I could sit here and say that's overkill, but you know what? I'm thankful that we have a mayor that is concerned about the safety of our residents and visitors, that in fact, we will make it as safe as humanly possible to make sure everybody's safe in that, in whether it's an indoor event or an outdoor event. So just wanted to make that clear about the contact tracing. It is still going on. Now, I cannot tell you how effective. I know they let go a lot of contact tracers. In fact, it was Dr. Miscovich was one of the key people that broke the story last year about the failures of the contact tracing program with our whistleblower. But do
She
you have
came
any
to me.
information?
She came to
Huh?
me. Yeah, the
Yeah.
whistleblower came to me. Yeah, I broke the story with her, and I got her attorney general protection, and yeah. So, God
Yeah.
Almighty. Well,
Yeah.
hey,
So
congrats to Kauai, because you know what? That should be done. That should be done. That is there's that. We're in a pandemic. How long does it take you to fill out a little form? What, 30 seconds? 1
30
minute?
seconds,
Yeah,
30 seconds
maximum.
at the most. Yeah.
Yeah, 30
30
seconds.
seconds.
And then you will get to know that if you were in a closed environment for 2 hours with 3 people who are positive, come on, man, it's a no-brainer. That's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. Ah, so,
Yeah.
um,
I don't know what happened to Dr. Akiona. I know she's busy. I know she's
uh,
really busy. Um,
yeah, yeah. Um, I just texted her and I just said, I hope she was able to go to the private concert tonight where she is. So,
well,
yeah,
Doc,
yeah.
I did want to take this opportunity because we're running short on time. I mean, it goes by so damn quick, man. I tell you. But first of all, to our viewers out there, our villagers that had helped us, we had put out a call for some donations for Pop Warner on Kauai for two events, right? A scholastics banquet, which we honor the very few athletes that can go through the season and maintain their grades, um, and a cheer competition that unfortunately we were unable to do live, but we were able to raise money from our villagers to go ahead and hold this cheer competition, but provide awards and the goodies for our amazing young athletes, the cheerleaders or the spirit squad. But the scholastics banquet, because it was a very small number of people. My wife Patsy is in charge of the scholastics program here, and the venue is a restaurant that can hold 300 people. With the 50% capacity rule, it goes down to 150 people. But and now it's back up to 100% if you do vaccination. But my wife and the Pop Warner board felt that that might still be a little cramped, so we cut it at 80 people. So the 80 people will be in the restaurant that holds 300. But with the new requirement, we everyone that comes in has to be vaccinated or tested have a negative test result the test was taken within 24 hours. Now, if you're on Kauai, there's a big problem because if the event is on Sunday, that means you got to take the test 24 hours before, which is Saturday 5 p.m. or later. Well, you can't get a PCR test done or an antigen test done after 5 o'clock on Kauai. So I called our friend Dr. Miscovich over there at Premier Medical Group, and I said, Doc, can I buy some tests from you? Can we buy a bunch of tests? Because a lot of our kids, some of our kids just got their first shot, not their second shot. You have to be fully vaccinated, meaning 2 shots or one J&J. Dr. Miscovich, without hesitation, said, Mel, we got you covered. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. My donation to a great cause. Now, I'll be honest, man, I got kind of choked up and emotional because we were willing to pay for it. Then he says, Mel, our test, it's not the over-the-counter test. It comes with a machine. So we're gonna have to train and certify somebody from Kauai. I said, oh doc, never mind, man. I'm going to go longs. I go longs and I'm going to just buy some of those over-the-counter tests. He said, no, Mel, relax. Now, Dr. Kohi Akiona, that's why I was waiting for her to come on to tell this story. Dr. Akiona says, Mel, don't worry about it. I'll fly to Kauai and I'll run the test for you guys. Not a problem. So from last night where my wife was a nervous wreck because we thought we might have to move the event, we're not going to compromise safety, guys. We're not going to compromise safety. Period. We'd move an event before we compromise on safety. We want to make sure our kids get recognized. We want to make sure their parents get recognized. We want to make sure the associations get recognized. And we're going to do it safely. Social distance. I don't care what the rule is. We are going to be socially distanced. And I'm going to be in charge. So I can promise you it's going to be social distancing. But there was an issue with the testing. Thanks to Dr. Miscovich, Dr. Akiona, Premier Medical Group, and I know he doesn't want me saying this, but he saved the day for all those kids, man. You saved the day.
Oh
And
man.
it's not even charging us a penny for the testing. Doc, I can tell you, man, somebody just said you're a rock star. You're a rock star.
Hey.
You're gonna make a bunch of kids so happy and parents and it's awesome, guys. What you just did for us, Doc. I'm gonna get emotional, but thank
Well,
you. Thank
hey,
you.
but let me just tell you a little bit, Mel. Just because we're brothers, man. I grew up in a hardworking middle class family. You guys know my mom was a teacher. My father worked in steel mill area around a small town with still only 8,000 people, 40 miles from Pittsburgh, and sports was my life. Having access to be able to have the ability to be involved in organized sports, and it was 3 sports and day and night. And when I think of our kids here in Hawaii, and when you think of some of these kids, how much it is part of their life and it's their dream and it's their aspiration, it was taken away for a year during COVID. I'll do anything to help our kids. That's why, I'm donating tons of time over to the ILH over here, and we're doing their testing for trying to keep them on the field, and I'm designing their programs and anything I can do to help, especially some of these kids who are underprivileged, that this is their chance. It's what they wake up to think about. I just still these days have dreams of what sports meant to me. I'll do anything for it. And so we're honored to help, and I'm honored to help those kids. And then to have these kids be able to maintain a grade point average, way to go. They need to be celebrated, and they need to share their experience with the other kids who maybe with a little bit of experience will be able to step up and do the same thing. Right. So
Yeah,
honored to
we
do it.
we got one of our speakers is a senior vice president from a credit union who got his first scholarship in Pop Warner through the Scholastics program. He's going to be the speaker. He's going to share his story, and hopefully give our kids an opportunity to hear from someone that was there. Pee-wee, little pee-wee football. But
Nice.
Pop Warner requires them to keep good grades, and the ones that excel get sent up to nationals for scholarships, and that's going to be so cool. And the thing that, like you said, Doc, it's been such a tough year. These kids have been, taken out of their sports, and many of our kids, uh, that's all they have. That's their only socializing that they've been able to have. And we've had some positive cases. We've had some forfeited games because of COVID. They understand what COVID is, but on Sunday they are going to be recognized for their athletic and scholastic accomplishments, and they're going to be able to do it in a very safe environment with their families. It's going to be solid. Now, for those of you that have donated, you guys made it possible for all of these kids and their parents to not have to pay for their meal. They're gonna, and this is a meal. This isn't sandwiches and chips. This is gonna be a full-on meal out there at Wong's restaurant, and they're not gonna pay for anything. They're gonna be showered with gifts, and just rewarding these kids for their hard scholastic achievements. The cheer competition were not able to perform there, and yet two of our associations won the opportunity to compete at the regional level, at the national level. Unfortunately, because of COVID, they won't be able to travel. But you guys made it possible for us to provide them with gifts, awards, recognition, and I just, whew, you guys made it happen. The village, you guys sent the money in, and I cannot thank you enough. And then this late crisis we had last night, my wife was a wreck because she's in charge. Doc, you and Dr. Akiona, I just don't know how to say thank you enough, man. I just
Honored.
appreciate you. Just
Yeah.
appreciate all that you do, man. This dreams come true. Dreams come true.
No, honored, and uh, anything I can do to help our athletes here or help our kids. And I don't want to just say athletes, okay? Because I really stand for both sides of the house. I'll give you an example. I'm very active in many states, and one of the things I was also, it just, I found the place that kind of has a little bit of feeling that hits my heart like Hawaii does, and I'm doing tons of work in New Mexico, and it's a beautiful state. It's the fifth largest geographic state, but it's all over the map when it comes to ethnic populations, social vulnerability, and you got some big cities, you got some problems, you got borders. There's so many things, and I'm working right with their Department of Health, right up with their secretaries of all the departments, and the governor, who's a very progressive Democratic governor, and there's a program called Test to Stay, where instead of having kids be factored out of school when they have close contact, where they have to miss 2 weeks of school, what you do is they're put through a testing program, and they're a pilot now for this for the country, and I've been working with them to help develop that. Well, we started to look, and they know my passion about athletics, and I just designed for the state of New Mexico the Test to Play program. And so what we're doing is, if someone on the team tests positive, instead of the whole team being wiped out and everybody quarantines for so long and they forfeit games, you go through an increased testing cadence to test the athletes day 1, day 3, day 5, day 7. And it came out of the UK, but the data shows you're not going to have any more spread that way than you would it the other way. And the kids get to play. And so one of the things, when the head of the New Mexico Activities Association reached out to me, I said, I really want to make sure we give equal footing to the cheer. But I said, what about the debate team? What about the drama? I said, all of those after school activities, they need to have the same access, and we should give them the same opportunity. So we designed the program for every group organized activity, and it's now going to be implemented beginning Monday in the state of New Mexico. And I'd love to share it with the state. Actually, I did. I sent it over to Libby just about, I don't know, last week. I just sent it over to Libby, but it was interesting when I took the time to do that, they talked about how this is it for those kids. So many of those kids through the rural areas and through that area, they have nothing. And for them to have no ability or to miss a couple of weeks, or maybe it's their only chance at scholarship. And I was thinking, my God, this is just like Hawaii. We this is going on everywhere. And I'm just telling that story because let's think big for our kids. Let's find a way to let our kids follow your lead, Mel, and stay on the field, stay active, but stay safe. Let's keep them safe. I mean, I can't tell you enough. So,
You
but
know, we can coexist with COVID safely. It will take some sacrifices. It'll take a little adjustments and tweaks, but we can do it safely. But I appreciate what you're saying about the kids. I've been with Pop Warner now for over 20 years. Geez, since my kid was playing, and they're long gone. But I have seen Pop Warner, both the football side and the cheer side. It's interesting you brought up the debate teams because I've seen the debate kids come up and turn out to be lawyers and attorneys. And if not for these activities, well, what options and choices do they have here in a little rural community of Kauai? Most of them not very good. So yeah, I think we gotta really support these activities and events. And I do want to thank my wife. I see a lot of people saying, "Hey, give Patsy a hug." Yeah, she's worked hard. It's very difficult in this COVID environment where you don't get a chance to meet face to face. Everything's done online and blah blah blah. She's worked really 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 hard to get these kids up to the level where they can actually qualify for the scholastics program. So yeah,
yeah,
I'll definitely relay the mahalos. But Doc, it's well, that's why we're here. That's Mayor Harry Kim's thing, right? That's why we're here, for the next generation and the
that's right.
generation to follow. So
That's right.
again,
And
Doc,
hey, I do want to, I've wanted to do this the whole thing, and I just mentioned her name, but I want to give a shout out for everybody to know. I really think our director of health, Libby, has hit full stride. I have had communication with her, and I really think that we need to support her. I think that she's trying to get her voice heard, and I really I have a lot of respect for her. So I just hope we can. I hope that they don't take. I'm worried they've taken it away from her. So, um, but
yeah,
honored to work with you and honored to be working with the village here and everyone. And I'm trying to read the comments. I'll go back and read the comments. And I agree.
there- there's
Yeah.
there's just been a lot of comments, a lot of questions. I did not want to interrupt you, Doc, because your information is so valuable, and I, I'll try to scan through, Doc, if you can go through the questions and if there's
Yeah.
anything you can answer. I also wanted to make one clarification because I see a lot of comments about the vaccination and testing requirement in restaurants. No, if it's an organized event, those requirements are added. If it's just a restaurant, that's not required. So, yeah, as far as the contact tracing and all of that stuff, the vaccinations and testing still required, but just the contact tracing information. So, with that, Doc, I do want to give you some time to share some words of advice, words of wisdom regarding Omicron,
Hmm.
or whatever you want, my friend.
Okay. Well, no, I think we've talked enough about it that I just want everybody to understand. Um, be prepared. Like I said, get the masks if you can. Get your third shot. Your third shot will give you full immunity. Then, and that's so important to get that as soon as possible. Use the ventilation. Everything's the same. Everything's the same. Protect your kapuna. Um, and do the testing like they're talking about. If you can get access to it, do the testing. That is very important. A couple tests a week will really make a difference. And um, I wish our public officials would just send everybody tests at home. But no, we've talked enough about it. I will say, I'll try to keep everybody abreast through whether Facebook or something like that. But otherwise, uh, be serious about it. Be prepared, just like we're preparing for a hurricane. It may not come. It may not come, but over the holiday is when we're really at risk. And I wouldn't be in a large group gathering where everybody has masks off and is tightly gathered. even if there was a lot of vaccinations there, with the waning immunity, we're still really at risk right now. So if you do get sick, all right, call your doctor immediately. We are not using our monoclonal antibody enough here. If you get sick and you start getting a lot of symptoms or you have any kind of health problems, for God's sake, you should be going and getting them a monoclonal antibody. It's ridiculous that we're not using it enough here, and they don't even talk about it enough here. Soon we'll have the pill available. Pfizer is what I'm waiting for, because Merck barely made it through the FDA yesterday. And bottom line, it's pretty well garbage. It's only 20-30% effective. And Pfizer's still up there 87 to 90%. And they basically said they're very confident, even with Omicron, it will remain. And that is going to be a game changer. So be quick to get treated if you even do get COVID, whether you think you're at risk or not. Anybody can get monoclonal antibody right now, and that takes you 90% plus chance you're not going to get any hospitalization or serious changes. Just listen to facts. Stay away from blogs or false information, and try to encourage people to get their vaccines. And I've said it, and you can watch my piece on Facebook. But we're not done with this. Why do I say it's years? Because we're not vaccinating the world. Until we get vaccines in every shot in the arm across the world, this is going to keep coming and coming and coming, and it's going to keep moving around. And we're probably going to have more variants, and we're going to be living the ups and downs and ups and downs. And we got to find a way to get together. We need to put Mel and his wife in charge of vaccinating the world. So, damn it, somebody's got to do it. So,
I tell you, man, I wish I was in charge just for a day. Just for a day, man. Hey, Doc, thanks again. I just want to remind people, we had 8 more deaths today, I believe. That's not Omicron. We had, I think, 12 more cases on Kauai today. That's not Omicron. We still got Delta, people. Delta is still here. So whether Omicron comes or doesn't come, we still got to deal with Delta, which means we still got to be safe. We still got to get vaccinated. We still got to get boosted. Still got to wear our masks. I can promise you on Sunday at the Scholastics banquet, I can only imagine how many people are going to hate my guts after that, because we're going to make it safe. We're going to keep it safe. And everyone has to do that. Everyone has to do that. It's all, we got to take. Go ahead, Doc.
Oh, you just gave me. I think I just smelled another donation coming your way. I'm going to make sure we have, 80, 90, 100 nice N95s coming over, and everybody will get a nice, fresh, new N95.
Oh, man. You're killing me. You're going to make me cry on live Facebook, man. Don't do that.
That's what we need to get those boys, ladies.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So. Doc, you're the best, man. You're the best. I got to tell you, I love this village so much, guys. The village. Stay safe, guys. That's the name of the game. Appreciate you, Doc. I don't know what happened to Dr. Akiona, but please tell her that we love her and we appreciate her. Villagers, thank you again, man. I'm glad you guys stuck around, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Feel Good Friday. I don't know what's going to happen, man. We don't know what's going to happen between now and then. You got to stay tuned to find out. Love you guys. Take care. God bless. Stay safe.
See you guys. Bye.
Hello.